Yo, welcome to the Hive Hustle, the captivating podcast about street culture, whether that be dance, hip hop, crump, roller skating, music, anything that's inspired me and helped me become the person I am.
It's official now. The Hive Hustle Podcast about to sit you down. Go and fix your crown. This ain't a grain of salt. Pick your brain and thoughts, even through a major loss. Still remain a boss.
Today, man, I think I've watched him for over 10 years now grow up in the scene, and he's inspired me tremendously. I know in times I have inspired him too, and I don't say that I'm like the reason for him knowing a little bit about crump, but I think I did give you a little bit of knowledge about it.
Oh, that's extremely humble, bro. You were like my first experience. Like crump wasn't really around Las Vegas until you came around. You were my first like introduction to the dance. You taught me basically all the first fundamentals I have of crump from that dance.
I didn't know that that's how you felt.
Dog, that's 100%. Oh yeah, bro.
Well,
it was like Wednesday session, and then you came in and was doing that. And
Damn. Yeah, that's true. Hey, you and Jam both were at those Wednesday sessions, right?
Oh yeah, bro.
Okay.
Oh, I lived there. I was the one that. I think I'm the one that brought Jam there. Unless Jam ended up there.
I think you were, because he moved out here to be around like you and Jesse and him.
Yeah, well, recently he was out here early. He was out here before that. I think he actually lived with Mossy for a while too.
Yeah,
because
I
that's how I met him the first time, was through
Bang
Mossy. Yeah, it was through Bang Squad.
Well, hey, I got my boy Reece here, Reset, co-owner of the Hybridge Crew, MJ1, Jabbawockeez. He world renowned, man. Fuck everybody.
Let him know.
But yeah, he's down to have a conversation with me, down to get it in, get deep, and really just get to know one another. If you don't know about the Hive Hustle, bro, I've always had Swarm Brand to invest in the culture. Obviously, the branding, the web development, all of that pays the bills. Mm-hmm. This stuff gives me the ability to invest back into our scene. This is one of the ways. I have a YouTube account. I've never used it outside of when we did one round. So I'm like, might as well use it.
Yeah.
Put some stuff on wax, put some stuff out there. And to be honest, now that I think this is, episode 17. Now that we're on episode 17, I'm sitting here and like every episode gets better. Like it legitimately, like I learn about the people. It's a great experience. We have a good conversation. So thank you, man. Thank you for being here.
Bro, thank you so much for having me, bro. Seriously, it's a blessing.
Definitely. First things first, Hive Hustle is about street culture. What was your introduction to street dance and like street culture in general?
Oh man,
because I know you born and raised here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, man. My first introduction to street dance ever was a dance crew in middle school.
Really?
Called SSB.
What middle school did you go to?
I went to Tarkanian Middle School, way southwest. I've been on the southwest side of the city most of my life, but it's there was a talent show, and me and my friend entered as a comedy act. Okay. We were terrible, but there was another squad there called SSB. It was a crew of like 5 B-boys that went to my school, and they ended up winning the whole thing. And they were showing me like 6 steps and baby freezes during rehearsals. Like we'd be rehearsing this talent show, and To Kill Time would be like off on the side. That was like my first like nibble of it. And then
when was it after that?
Dude, it was a long time, bro. It was like, so from middle school, that was probably 8th grade that happened. And then around my junior year of high school, I would kind of start like walking around like the break club. And then by the time my senior year came, we actually had like a full dance team at the school. And so it's 6th period every day.
What high school did you go to, if you don't mind me asking?
Desert Oasis High School.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. See, I went to high school at Shap.
Oh.
And so when Shap, like, obviously I'm a lot older, but Shap, we had a step team. Like we didn't have like hip hop team. Like we didn't have no dance team. Like, and Knucklehead Zoo would come and like perform. So that was like my introduction, and like obviously the skating rink and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's cool. It's crazy to know like that we can go to a public school and still get hip hop culture. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? It's that deep embedded into our lives. Yeah. That it's that deep. That's dope. So what was after that?
Well, okay. So actually, if I could just say one thing about like what you just said, about it being so deep, it's amazing that Knucklehead Zoo was like performing at SHAP, and they're still around today, performing at schools and doing their thing.
20 years later,
owning Ninja Karaoke, like you know, it's like. No, man, it's cool that legendary crews to us in our like little bubble here in Las Vegas are like still have veins tracing like back to high schools here. It's crazy.
It's the community in itself, like what we do and how we bring people in, and it just changes their lives.
Yeah.
Like if I never stepped into the skating rink and met Mecca and then learned about Culture Shock through meeting Mecca.
Oh, that's how that happened.
And then I never was in Culture Shock, but he auditioned for it like a couple times, and that's how I heard it. So I was in his little like skate dance crew at the time, and I would hear Culture Shock. I was like, I never was in extracurricular activities in school. My mom didn't have the money. So when it came down to it, I was always in the streets figuring out about the streets. Because I didn't get to, Sigma Beta Club was the only thing I was in, and that was free. And that's the reason I was in it, was because it was free. So like in reality, like Mecca, Culture Shock, and then next thing I know, I started crumping.
Oh, wow.
Literally, like 2006, right after high school, I watched Rise and was like, oh crap.
This is great.
This is insane. So
what was like the timeline of that? Like from
I met Mecca in 2000 at the skating rink.
At the skating
2000.
rink.
Through a guy named LeVar. LeVar is like the biggest roller skater in Vegas. He used to own a crew called Vegas Heat, and I was in that crew. You remember Alicia that was on Hypnotics, the white girl? So me and Alicia were on Vegas Heat together. And then we transferred and we started being in Hypnotics and stuff like that. And right after Hypnotics was birthed in 2005, I left to go crump.
Oh.
So I was like one season in choreography, and then boom, straight freestyle. Because I was already a popper, like waving and stuff like that before that. So I was like, this choreography stuff is cool, but I don't really want to do that. I want to go be rugged. So that's where and then back then I went from 2006 to 2013, and that's when I came back into the scene with one round, and everybody started seeing us at Neon and things of that sort. So I was engulfed in crump for that long.
That's wild, bro. I had no idea. That's so sick.
So started off at Desert Oasis.
Yeah.
Where did you get introduced to the actual scene, though? That's what I want to know.
Bro, that's actually...
Because it's through Troy, right?
It was... No, it wasn't.
Really?
So here's the crazy thing. It was through a woman named Jane Nass. Bryce... Yeah.
Bryce's mom.
Yes.
Okay.
So, get this. My friend from high school, Andy Veronica, shout out to Andy Veronica, just had a kid, wonderful woman. Okay. She introduced me to a gentleman who I'm forgetting his last name, Adam, but Adam was a guitarist, and his friend was Jane Nass, and when he heard that I was like dancing and doing hip hop stuff, I would be battling people like at the school, like that's where I would battle.
That's insane.
Bro, it is the wildest like friend of a friend, like it's a true like some
word of mouth story.
Yeah, I got like past like a lot of people I didn't even like meet in person. This Adam person, I did not meet him in person. Jane, I didn't meet her in person till the day I showed up for this battle. So he introduces me to Jane because Jane's hooked up to the hip hop scene. Jane invites me to Desert Gym Cats. It's like to a battle.
Shit.
That was my
I know what battle
first.
That
I
is.
think I met you there.
I was there,
bro. My first battle. That was my first battle. That was my first time in the hip hop scene. At that battle, I think I won like my first round versus someone else who was like really new, and I just threw a bunch of waves and did like 6-step like 30 times. Not crazy. My second battle was against two-time all-style hip-hop champion Jay Boogie. This man roasted me, and I don't know if you remember, but this man just basically burned me with a 2-step. But he pulled me aside, and that's how he's the first one that started actually teaching me lessons on like rhythm, on popping, on like breaking and locking.
It's dope to see that, like, because you got to understand something. Jay Boogie goes further back than that. I was a junior in high school. My mom worked at Mandalay Bay. There was a fucking lounge called the Pussycat Lounge, and Jay Boogie was a go-go dancer.
What?
I walk up because back then my mom worked like swing shifts. So I was a teenager, bro. I was everywhere. Like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Think about it. We didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
Like it was Nokias. You know what I'm saying? Like we had barely YouTube. Like we had barely MySpace. So all of us were still outside experiencing the world consistently. So I would take the bus to my mom's job. Like I'd be at home after school and be like, you know what? I'm gonna go to my mom's job because then we'll just take the bus home together. And during that time, I met Jay Boogie, and I would sit on the outside because I wasn't allowed in the actual thing, and I would watch him dance.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
That,
shout
and
out
so,
to Jay Boogie.
like,
My
you got to
gosh.
understand, like, I met him, I met Mecca, I met LeVar, and then, like, after that stuff, that was, like, my introduction to, like, wow, these people can actually be professional dancers.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Likewise.
We good? Okay. I didn't delete everything, so okay. I sometimes I'll be running out of memory. Sorry, YouTube. We'll put this in there, but sometimes I'll be running out of memory, and I'm like, ugh. So, but with that said, like there's so many different ways to be like introduced to it. Yeah. So knowing that Jay Boogie had a hand in like training you in the very beginning shows me why you have the ambition and you have the drive that you have for dance, because I truly believe that your teacher, like one of your first teachers is going to be like, it's how you start anything is how you finish it.
Yeah.
They say like when you get in a relationship with a girl, like how it starts is going to be how it ends.
Yes.
You know? So like, I feel like that's really crazy to hear, bro. Like it's crazy to see that like we have someone with the same introduction. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like same people, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I mean,
now,
shout out to Jay for just being like,
being open to teach people, because there was a lot of people back then that wouldn't.
Yeah. And everywhere he goes, he's always like, he always seems to know everybody. Like his passion and love for dance is so infectious that it's cool that we both kind of were inspired by him in major ways, but it's crazy when you see him in battle environments. It's like everyone has been
Dude, Jay
impacted by this man,
Jay
bro.
Boogie legitimately, like, he's like one of the, to me, this is personal opinion, I'm not discrediting anybody in our city, but Jay Boogie has inspired probably 90% of our community. Yeah. In my personal opinion. Yeah. Like, if you ask anybody who Jay Boogie is in Vegas dance culture, they're going to, maybe not the 20-year-olds and 23-year-olds nowadays, because he ain't been in the scene for like 5-10 years. Yeah. But anybody that's been in the scene over 10 years knows him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Now, you learned street dance. You learned through Jay Boogie starting. Yeah. Throughout that time, you were learning hip hop. But were you learning any styles?
I would say that whole time, honestly, was popping. Like almost all of that was popping.
Gotcha. So through Jay Boogie, and then what was after that?
So, I'm sorry. Maybe I misspoke. I guess I was thinking like it was mainly popping. But through Jay Boogie is where I was introduced to house, is where I was introduced to locking, where I was kind of reintroduced to breaking. Okay. But I guess it's like breaking, I guess I was mostly introduced to back in like middle school. Gotcha. And it didn't get picked up till way later. But it was primarily popping. And that's because that was my interest. Yeah. So, and Jay Boogie was one that brought me actually around like For Real and Big Heartbreak. And that's where I kind of settled into the Wednesday practices. Those were my dojo, like 100%. So it was like, they're all popping. And then I just, I caught Were you
in HP before we did the Wednesday practices?
No, after. I was coming to those practices for years, bro.
Really?
And then, I guess I was coming to those practices for like about a year. Because it's like, my junior year is when all this started. So it was like all my junior year. I got really interested in dance through that. We did the dance team at DO. Yeah. Went through all that, still going to Wednesday practices. And then.
Damn, so you were in high school when you were going to Wednesday practices?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. That's
fucking crazy.
I was leaving right. I'd get home, take my mom's car, come up,
crazy.
Go back home.
I didn't know that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know, like when you're teaching people or when you're around people, some of the people you're around, you don't really know their ages or like we're just dancers. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like age doesn't really get brought up until you actually sit down with somebody. You get what I'm saying? 100%. So it's crazy to think that you were in high school around a bunch of damn adults learning how to dance. Yeah. Crazy.
It was so fun.
Hey, I understand though, because that's how Kill Frankie was. Yeah. That's how all of them were. Like, I met Kill Frankie when he was 13. Like.
Whoa. When he was 13? Yeah. Oh,
I met him in 2008.
Damn.
Yeah.
Bro, you've been... Like, also shout out to you while we're shouting out J Boogie. There's a lot of people you've inspired, bro. Like, you've made huge waves in this scene and have been holding it down for, like, you've been a pillar of this scene for so long.
Man.
Like, Hybrids is around, we're doing things. Bougie Block's doing wonderful things with Trey. Like, there are, like, pillars of the scene for sure, but you were the most consistent one to this day.
Man, that means a lot.
You know what I'm saying? And you were around a lot for... like during Scribble Funk and during Pot's crew.
I was in Scribble Funk.
You were in Scribble Funk.
Yeah.
And
I was the only, besides Saint, me and Saint were the only crumpers in Scribble Funk.
And Scribble Funk was like the first all-style squad. If you guys don't
Vegas.
know, they were the first all-style squad in Vegas.
Yes.
Like first ones.
Very first. And what people don't really understand is the only reason me and Saint were in there is because it was an all-style squad. And Big Heartbreak knew how to crump, but it wasn't his main style.
Yeah.
For Real knew how to crump, but back then it wasn't his main style.
Yeah.
So like to have that full-fledged authenticity, that's why they put us on. And I never was around because I was so engulfed at that time with the one round stuff. Yeah. We were just building one round. We were just starting up. So I was never like able to be at the performances and stuff like that. And like everybody knows, I never cared for choreography. Like it's never been my thing. I learn it to grow, but I'll never be a choreographer. Like a choreography crew. Like even I'm in Dope Show and like I tell Brandon all the time, I'm like, look, like y'all crazy. I'll give y'all credit. I'll stay crumping.
Bro, choreo heads blow my mind. They get a lot of respect. I'm in the exact same boat, bro. I know choreography because I wanted to be a professional dancer. Yeah, because I wanted to be professional. And it was hard to get like freestyle stuff. But I mean, in MJ1, I do a mostly popping role. So it's like a lot of my stuff is like placement. But how you get there is a little different between all of us. So there's like a level of freestyle. There's a lot of freestyle in it. Bro, the warriors in the show though, the amount of precision that choreography requires and the consistency at which they perform it is like mind-boggling to me. Like they might as well be superheroes. I'm like, damn.
Imagine. Now, so obviously you answered the question too, because with your favorite street style is obviously popping.
That's where my heart is. I don't though. I always struggle putting them all above each other. I have such like a different relationship with each of them almost. It's like, you know,
I think we all do because I wave, I pop. You know, I won't teach it, but I can do it. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And that was what I started with.
Yes.
100%. I know how to do certain b-boying moves because of obviously how I started.
Yeah.
But my bread and butter is crump. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't master the style, but I'm damn near close to it. You know, like I can literally know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and why to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
So like I feel like when I look at you, if I labeled you as like your main style, it would be popping.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. And that you're right. Popping is to me what crump is to you. It's the one where if you're just putting me in like popping realm, that's probably my most trained, most refined style for sure.
I could see you in a popping battle with some heavy hitters because you've trained that style that much. Yes, you are an all styles dancer. You are a hybrid. That makes sense. But like where you feel most comfortable is definitely popping. I see it in your rounds all the time. I'm like, you'll start off with popping a lot of the time, unless if the song gears you to do something different, especially in a battle.
For sure.
Well, hey, we're going to take a commercial break real quick. Check this out. Like, subscribe, and do me a favor and get this video into the algorithms. We'll be right back.
Resonate with greatness, celebrate creatives. Ain't no blanket statements, elevate then claim it. So amazed I'm making a way for those in need. Mold the lane, showing change in the growing me. It's official now, the Hive Hustle Podcast, about to sit you down, go and fix your crown.
Yo, we back. I'm with my boy Reece. We over here having a great conversation. We was just talking about what favorite street styles are. And you mentioned a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, you're a part of MJ1, but we don't want to talk about that yet.
Okay.
Obviously, we know you were a part of the Jabbawockeez.
Yeah.
You were a part of the cast too with Jam, right?
Yeah, hired. So I was... Yeah, actually,
that's how he said you guys built the hybrid name.
Yeah, we did that in a little subletted like room. We were sitting across from each other on basically our laptops.
What? How was that? And like, how did it influence your style and your growth in dance, that being a part of the Jabbawockeez?
Oh man, I think they added a lot of character to my dance, man. Jabbawockeez were great because they gave me an opportunity to be a professional dancer really before anyone else. Like I was doing gigs and stuff, but they were the ones that are like, no, we want you to like do a show. Yeah. So it was cool that they even picked me up in the first place. But that was my first time really having to think about your character on stage. Jabbawockeez, it's in the DNA of being a Jabberwocky. There's a personality that you have to portray to an audience.
Yeah, and you have to do that with no face.
And you have to do that with no face. You get no facial expression. It's body language. It's telling little stories. And that added performance to my craft. And I think that that's actually the deepest thing that I got in the greatest, I guess, point of emphasis, point of growth. Yeah. The thing that grew the most in my skill was my character. 100%.
And it's crazy because to think like in Crump, for instance, character's your face. Yeah. Like there's character in our body, but a lot of it's facial expression. So to think that these men thought of an idea to put a mask on and still have a character. Yeah. That anybody, like, it's genius in itself to know that anybody can play the character as long as you learn the role. Yeah. And it's a genius business decision. Oh, I don't even think they thought about that at first. Hell no. Because anybody can be behind the mask. Yeah. And it's like when I thought about that, I was like, oh my God, the Jabbawockeez are smart as hell. Dude. Because like that means you can have I remember when I first started like being around them and people would ask me like, yo, you know the Jabbawockeez? I'm like, yeah, I know them. They're the homies. Yeah. And they're like, yo, they're like in the show. And I'm like, no, like they have a whole cast of people. Like, don't get me wrong. And that's what Brandon told me and Jam. Some of them are in the show still. Yeah. Like they still put on the mask. Oh yeah. No hesitation, because that's their shit.
Yeah, they hold it down too.
A lot, from my understanding, when I would talk to KB, is a lot of them handle the logistics, handle the marketing, handle different things within the business. Just like when the time comes, you're gonna do that for hybrids. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you guys might not be in the forefront for very long because you have to hire people to do that job so you can focus on big vision.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the delineation too, right? Is that like, even like me, Brandon, Jam, like we were a part of the Jabbawockeez, but it's like, really like the Jabbawockeez are the guys you saw on the show in a larger group of people that were right behind. We're the cast. Like we were hired to perform their greatest hits. And you know, it's really no different than like Cirque du Soleil has us performing MJ's greatest hits. Like
or
we're
like
doing MJ's
if you think about it, a Prince tribute show or anything of the sort. It's the same concept. Show,
it's always that. So it's oh shoot. So yes, the OGs definitely hold it down, but they're definitely hanging out they're handling the business side of the business, you know. And then you also have a group called Young Dragons, which is our select group of dudes that hold it down. They're within the company.
Really?
Yeah. These guys are
they're like the younger ones, right?
They're the younger ones.
So like a lot of the dudes from SAC, right?
Yeah, a lot of dudes from SAC, a lot of dudes that have just generally been around with the company for a long time, in families. It's, you know, really dope dancers and freaking killers in their own right. That's you know, like really wild people, but they're handling the dance side of things. They're now the ones kind of like creating choreography. They're the ones pushing a lot of that stuff. And such, and then there's like cast behind that, and then there's us just learning it and performing it.
That's cool,
you know. And for what it's worth, I hear this a lot, and sometimes it drives me crazy, and it's actually kind of exciting to say this out loud to me. But I hear people complain that's like they'll say, "Oh, like those aren't the real Jabbas." Dude, everyone in that cast, everyone that dons the mask, has 100% gotten the seal of approval from an OG. They know us all by name.
And I know that for a fact because when I was around, like when I was junior concrete and I was around concrete a lot, I was in that circle. Like I was hanging out with them at the house. I was doing all that stuff. And they explained a lot of that to me. And you can't get on that stage if you're not ready. Yeah. And that's one thing I think a lot of people miss and misunderstand is that you have to be vetted to even be doing one of those routines. Yeah. And if you are judgmental and say, well, that's not a real, that's a real Jabba. Yeah. That's a Jabba. Like that person went through training, and that's why it's so cool that like KB started that whole Bikundo and that whole like situation that where people from Vegas can learn and people from Vegas can be a part of the covering of Jabbawockeez or even just be around them. Like the fact that they
be inspired by them.
Like the fact that they open their doors to the Vegas community, like there's a lot of people that came out to audition, but they didn't understand that a lot of us in Vegas got a real close look at them because they were around our scene consistently. Yeah. Like you could literally go to District Arts on Wednesdays and train with Rainin.
Yeah. Exactly. You could be like at Ninja Karaoke and be like, oh,
KB's
in the room.
There's
like,
KB. He's judging tonight.
Oh,
like,
snap.
What?
He's here. Like,
you feel me? Like, and so it's crazy that we can literally be in downtown Las Vegas and have legends around us.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people don't even think about that in sense because these people have been in rooms with people that we couldn't even fathom being in.
Yeah.
You know, and being that I've started Swarm Brand and I got it to like a pretty decent level, I understand that concept of like the respect now. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people that, well, they're just Jabbawockeez or they're just this or they're just that. Yeah. Like, no, these people started a multi-million-dollar company. Yeah. That's really what that is. Like, you can't deny that. Like, you can't deny that the business side and the hip-hop side is amazing. Yeah. And, yeah.
Dude, I would even argue that they are probably the best all-style crew of all time.
Literally.
Like, they're a crew, like, and they're so successful that they're
and
hiring,
not even that. Like I guarantee if you take all, like, there was like 6 or 7 originals?
Actually, before the show, I think there was something like 8 or 9 we recently learned. But
you take the 6 or 7 people that was on the show.
Yeah.
And you put them together against another crew? That's not like, I'm not talking about a performance. I'm talking about style for style.
Yeah.
Dancer for dancer. They will murk.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. You know, now to shift a little bit now, because previously you spoke about MJ1.
Yes.
Now, currently, you're in MJ1 in Mandalay Bay.
Yes, sir.
So what would you say are some of the differences between, like, obviously your experience in Jabba and your experience in MJ? Because Jabba is I personally feel, a family-owned company.
Yeah.
And MJ and Cirque is more like a corporation. Yeah. So did you have to change a lot of how you felt and how you did things?
There's a little more button up to it for sure.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's definitely, I mean, when there's like a real, I mean, there's an HR department. Yeah. I'll tell you I didn't know if there was an HR department or not in Jabba. At least when I was in there. It's been a minute for me. Yeah. But like, yeah, it's that definitely was like a family-owned thing. Things were handled, you know, person to person. Yeah. So in Cirque du Soleil, there's levels. There's seeing positions higher than mine that you promote to, and people that move within the company, watching what you say. Like, you can't just kind of like wild style tell jokes and stuff.
That's crazy.
You know what you're doing on your lunch breaks, all that jazz.
So, and then yesterday when I called you, you mentioned you were doing makeup.
I was doing makeup.
So you have to do makeup as a MJ1 performer. Now, does every single person in the cast?
Every single person.
So no matter what, you got to learn how to do makeup.
You're doing makeup. I'm in a dressing room with a bunch of dudes. We're all doing makeup together.
That's crazy.
For real. Yeah. And you know what, dude? Some of the dudes in that room will do makeup better than your auntie, bro. I promise you.
I bet.
Shout out to Kid.
Literally. Hey, I be looking at his stories sometimes. I'm like, damn, y'all got full faces on.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Y'all gotta be some damn artists to be able to do that shit.
Bro, it takes, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's some days you get there later, you're really tired and it kind of gets slapped on. But
hey, it's just like any other job.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you come in late, you gotta, all right, let me get together. Okay. All right, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, actually, when you called me, it was a perfect time because I was already sitting like with my AirPod in. I was like, okay, yeah, I can sit here and talk and do this. I'm just like,
I'm focused, but I can listen.
Yeah. I'm just being mechanical right now.
Literally.
But yeah, everyone has to come in. Everyone has their character. You go through makeup trainings on the way in. You have multiple sessions where you just meet with the makeup artist and then they do it on you. And then they'll do like half your face.
And you have to do
the other half. And then then you'll come in and just do it, wipe it off, do it one more time. They'll okay you, wipe it off, and then you do that before you're like dancing, bro.
So you got to go through a whole damn training before you even get to dancing.
Now that's a huge difference too, man. When you start, like when I was starting a Jabbawockeez contract, you just show up day one, you start learning. Here we go, we get cracking. You know, Yeah,
literally.
No, but which is more of a challenge than you think. I promise you.
Oh,
but
definitely.
but man, in MJ1, there's PMed intake. They do physical evaluations of you to see where you might be where you might be weak, or like they have some baseline thing there. There's a concussion test. You have all these validations before you can even step on stage. Many steps in the process. Corporation.
That's crazy.
The intake was like about a month and a half to 2 months, something like that for me. It took me that long to go from day one to dancing in my first pieces on stage. Not even a full show. Like you kind of start, they integrate you like gradually.
That's dope. Well, it's kind of good to do that in a sense, because you don't want to put something on somebody and then they flop and you're like, well, we didn't prep them. So you want to prep somebody totally. That makes sense, especially with a show like that, because people can get hurt.
There's parts, bro.
I've watched the show. I haven't watched it in a while, but I've watched it. There's like people flying and all types of stuff in there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So, okay. Well, what would you say? Like, obviously, you've had a great career. You're nowhere near done, obviously. But what would you say would be an aha moment?
An aha moment in general?
Like you were sitting there and you were like, "Damn, I made it."
Dang, I got to be honest, bro. I don't know if I've felt that yet.
Really?
I mean, there's
to be honest, bro. I think you're pretty successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you traveled overseas?
Yeah, that was the biggest draw for Jabbawockeez to me. My first contract was in China, and that was my first time really going overseas. Like my family.
So you performing in China didn't have an aha moment?
Oh, okay. How do I say this? I guess when I was understanding you as like, when did I feel like I made it? It's like I really do feel like there's been so many moments, an unreal amount of moments, where I've like stood on that stage and I've like looked at a crowd cheering after you like finish a show, and you're like, wow, this is
breathtaking.
This is breathtathing.
Yeah.
Like,
so
holy
you've
shit,
had
God
many
is
of
good.
those.
Many. Oh my God.
What would you say would be the most memorable one?
Oh, bro. The opening show of Prism I was performing for Jabbawockeez in Beijing, China. It was like the first show we did. We had this like sold out, like 4,000 person crowd in this big auditorium. And it was like, I was bowing. I got to do like one of the main roles that actually is the last person on stage, and I like bring everyone up. We do like a little bow, and then everyone goes off stage, and I have like one little last solo before I like leave, where I'm just kind of hyping up the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. I would be so giddy under that mask every time. But the first time I got to do it and I realized it was like me on behalf of this cast, this amazing cast of guys I get to perform with, are like, I get to be the representative to say thank you guys for coming out. And I think showing that appreciation and feeling like everyone there like looking at me being like, and it's not even me, I get to kind of like hide behind a little bit too, which is kind of nice in my own right, was just such an impactful moment for me, and made me, within the dance world, I think more than anything, my favorite feeling is actually performing. It's like actually putting on a good show for people.
Yeah.
You know,
entertaining.
It really is entertaining. Like, what an honor it is to be in that role. And that was one of my biggest takeaways from that tour as a whole, but really started in that specific moment. Was that
made you want to go further?
That made me want to go further. That made me feel like, man, doing cool stuff on a stage for a crowd of people is like
dope.
Yeah. This is something I would want to do for a living.
Yeah.
Like, this is something I would want to work like really hard to achieve higher, because admittedly I was kind of just battling and doing gigs until the Jabbawockeez edition happened in Vegas. Yeah. So it's like, oh, like if it's at a studio I've been battling at all year, like, why not? Like, I'll just pull up. It's like 15 minutes from the house.
Yeah.
I just do it.
Damn, man. That's crazy. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back. Do all the good stuff. Like, subscribe. Please leave a comment too. We'll be right back.
Resonate with greatness. Celebrate creatives. Ain't no blanket statements. Elevate and claim it. So amazed I'm making a way for those in need. Mold the lane, showing change in the growing me. It's official now. The Hive Hustle Podcast about to sit you down. Go and fix your crown.
Yo, we back. Man, this has been dope as hell. I'm really grateful for this interview. I think I've learned a lot about you in just this conversation, man. Like, to be honest, let's shift a little bit.
Okay.
Obviously, I consider you somewhat of a vet now. Just to be honest with you, bro.
I appreciate that.
You've accomplished enough in your dance career to be able to teach. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You've done your research. You've done your training. You're 10 years in.
Yeah.
The first Neon was 2013.
Yeah.
That's when you booed me. Yeah, I still remember that.
I do remember that. I'm so sorry.
I seen you back there like, yeah, you beat Peter. Uh-huh.
Oh, bro.
I remember that, man.
Bro, you took a crown I wanted to take, bro. I was looking at that like, I wanted to be the guy to roast that man.
But it's okay. You're a vet. Like, seriously, I'm giving me being an OG out here, you just gave me my credit. I'm giving you that title. Nobody can take it from you, because once you get that title, you have it. When the OGs in Vegas Crump gave me the vet title and then they moved me up to an OG, I took it. So run with that. Now,
yes, sir.
Thank you. Being that you are in that position, what would be your advice to somebody trying to get into street dance and make it a career?
Oh, what would be my advice? Specifically trying to make it a career, or just
street dance and like just in general? Like, obviously they can find it on Instagram, but what would your advice, being that somebody wants to take the same route you did?
I see.
You get what I'm saying? Like performing and being on stage and actually like doing this for a living, because it's not easy.
Yeah, so, I would say if your goal is to just get into street dance and see if you like it, just do it. That's my first and foremost advice, because being around it either will or won't, but I bet you it will make you want to stay around it. Like, it is hard to not want to go to an event when you've been there and you feel the energy of good dance, bro, of the culture of like where this stuff comes from, of how we communicate. So just do it. If you're looking to be a professional, I would say start taking a lot of class. Take every class you can. Get excellent at picking up choreography and network. That's so much of this. Here in Vegas, there's a lot of different routes that you can go. This is the beautiful city to be a dancer in. You can gig, you can do shows, you can do tours. Yeah. You can do all these things. Tours is really fun. Whatever you're trying to go for, or whatever you kind of like want out of your dance career, or that leg of your dance career, just focus on what's going to propel you that way. But really follow your heart, because if you're going into dance as a professional, there will come a time where this is now work. It's like you're gonna have to dance when you don't want to dance. That's now on the table,
and that's exactly why I don't do it for a living.
And I don't blame you.
And there's a lot of people that don't understand that, because you wake up and go to work.
Yes.
You're not waking up and going to practice.
Yes.
You're not waking up and going to have fun.
Yes.
And that's where I feel like that you answered that question so perfectly, because like that's where a lot of people get misunderstandings from. Is like, oh, I want to be a dancer for a living. Well, you realize you have to keep your body right. You have to dance for sometimes 8 hours a day. Yeah. Being on tour as a dancer is not easy.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a lot of, we were just talking about it before the episode. There's a lot of people and companies that will pay you pennies.
Yeah.
Because you're new. And you have to go through the trenches, and you're gonna have to do the free gigs. You're gonna have to do the free stuff. You're gonna have to do the $50 stuff. Yeah. You're gonna have to do the $100 stuff.
And you will work up.
And you have to work up. It's just like and shit. To be honest, street dance and dancing in general is just like any other corporation in industry.
Yes.
You got to go through the trenches.
Which is exactly why I say you got to follow your heart. You're going to have to go through the trenches. There's going to be not fun tours. There's going to be really fun tours. Like you'll have both experiences. If you're trying to see the world more, you're trying to travel more, go that tour route. It's a blast. But sometimes it's hard because you come back from tour
and you're sitting there in limbo.
Yeah, you got to figure out what to do to the next one. Gigging's fun. You get a nice variety of things to do. Like everything is different, and you get to like network and meet like really cool people, work for really cool businesses, really cool clients, see other really cool talent that you're booked with. So gigging is another like really fun avenue to go. Show life is wonderful because you're doing the same thing every day, but you're consistent. You know where your money's coming from, and that I would say is the scary part of the other two routes. And there's no reason you can't go all three. But that's why I say follow your heart, because when this becomes work, it would be a shame if you lost your love for dance because you chose to do it professionally. This is not a profession where you're going to go through the effort to get far in the industry and not love it. There's just no way, because there's more lucrative things that you don't love that are going to make you more money, make you more stable, and make you happy. And give
you
the
have to love
opportunity
it.
travel.
You have to love it.
You have to love it.
And I like we were talking outside, like you can make good money being a show dancer.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you got kids, you got a wife, you got certain things, going through that trench is hard. You know what I'm saying? Because you not only do you have your mouth to feed, you have more mouths to feed. Yeah. So it's like a lot of people have to understand that. And I had to take that big step because I had to understand when I got with Kalina and I had my first child, I had to understand like, okay, this lifestyle, I might only be that OG that can invest in the culture. I might not be that show dancer, and that's okay. I just have to find a way to maneuver and still do what I love for a living.
Yes.
And that's what I did, and that's where a lot of people have to, and me and Jam even talked about it. There's levels to this shit. Like, you can't sit here and have an opinion on professional dancing if you've never professionally danced. Yeah. You can't have an opinion on what the Jabbawockeez are doing if you've never actually been on that level. Like, and that's where a lot of people in the politics and the problems of the community, they have so much to say, but they haven't really scratched the surface of half of the stuff other people have done.
100%.
So, man, that's good. Now we're shifting. We're coming to a close. What is some, I did ask Jam this same question, but what is some stuff that you guys got coming up that you can speak about? Because I know y'all got a lot that you can't speak about, but what, like, do you guys have any, I know there's going to be a level up in 2024, but is there anything else? Because obviously we don't know if we can speak about that.
Yes, level up 2024 at some point.
No date yet?
No date yet.
Okay.
We don't have a date yet. Certain things being considered. But I would say right now we're in a really fun planning season, and I don't think there's too much I can actually say, but we are experimenting in a lot of different categories. We're going to be bringing some more fun events. We want to bring a season. That's something I think I can talk about. We do have kind of a season coming where we want to throw multiple community level events,
to build the community.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, really what Hybrids wants to do is just be of service to the Las Vegas community as much as possible and have a legit platform that we can all operate off of. So what we want to do is hopefully push more opportunities, create more opportunities, and pair up with other people in the community to do more stuff. We are looking into things like merch right now. We're going to continue our education kind of series
where y'all got the workshops at Millennium going on and stuff like that
every month. They've been on hiatus for a little bit. We're gonna bring them back in 2024, but the Hybrids workshops will happen every month at Millennium Dance Complex here in Las Vegas, and we will go over various improv techniques. We can go over foundation, skill-based classes. We will we'll run the gambit. So we also want to like educate and further the culture too. And I think that those are going to be our main, everything that we have going on is really surrounding those main goals right now. But nothing concrete that I really want to put down, honestly. Unfortunately.
Now this last question, then that's not unfortunate. We'll wait.
Yes.
They could be patient.
Yes.
Last question is like I told you, to me, you're a vet. You've made a big impact on a lot of different people in dance in Vegas. You've helped the dance culture tremendously. Now, this is somewhat a similar question that I just asked you, because obviously you were talking about things that you're doing to contribute. But how do you personally plan on contributing to the Las Vegas dance scene in the future?
My heart has always been with battling, and I will continue to try to throw the dopest battles possible for Las Vegas. There was an era where we had Vegas Shakedown, and it felt like people traveled from all over the place, and that was an aha moment.
The Vegas Shakedown and
the
ARC era were crazy.
Yes,
yeah,
bro. I feel like Las Vegas has so much talent here that kind of gets overlooked because of the nature of the entertainment side of our city, and I just want more than anything to help construct a pipeline where dancers can freestylers, specifically battlers and freestylers and competitors, can go to where they could potentially make like a full-time like living battling, being an excellent competitor, you know? And I want to do that. The main way I would like to contribute to the dance scene is just creating opportunity through battling and through throwing dope battles for everyone. I'm not a huge fan of like teaching personally. That's not like a space I like to usually be in. And admittedly, I think like celebrityism, there's a certain level of celebrityism I kind of feel uncomfortable with. But if I could kind of cross one it where it's like I get to show up to my own event and watch everyone have a wonderful time and create opportunities for other dancers all in the same place, I think that would be where fulfilling. I would love to be. You know, that would be the most fulfilling way to go about it.
I feel like that's good. Like we need people that understand their place. There's a lot of people that don't. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And you saying that like, hey, I don't like the celebrity type. I don't want to be that teacher. I'll stay in the background and handle some event stuff and allow people to have a great time. Yeah. I was there for a long time. Like I didn't want to be in the forefront at the very beginning of one round. Yeah. I just wanted to handle the back end, let y'all be the people. And when I first started Swarm Brand in 2017, that's where I wanted to, again. Yeah. I wanted to get back there because from 2013 to 2016, I was forefront. I was traveling to Japan. I was traveling to Australia. I was traveling all around the States. And I was teaching, battling, judging. Yeah. Now, I just want to facilitate. So I get you. Like facilitate. Like I want to compete. I got probably like 2 or 3 more years of competing. Yeah. I feel like I got 2 more. And if my body stays the way it is, I might even have a couple more after that. Hey, let's go. But right now, as I'm raising my children, I'm noticing like, okay, now I understand why Lamont took a break. Now I understand why Lamont like focused on business and focused on growing his DJ career and things of that sort. Because it's not easy, man. It's not tough. Easy being a provider and striving after your dreams. Yeah.
And bro, you're an inspiration to me because that's something I want. Like family.
You want a family?
Yeah, at some point, you know.
That's dope, man.
Maybe not like next week, but like,
of course. Yeah. I don't think anybody would want that. But like I don't even think that's possible.
No, it's not. It's not, of course. But
that's dope to hear. There's not a lot of dancers that want a family. So it's dope to hear.
Well, you know, I think not a lot of dancers want to, or not a lot of dancers even really talk about these things because a lot of dancers are generally younger. But I think dancers are one of the most diversified like groups of people ever. Like my goodness. But you know, when you start to talk into people in like their later 20s or early 30s that are still dancing, that are, you know, and there's a lot of them actually, surprisingly. I feel like the cap for dancer is much higher than people give it credit for. Yeah. Like most people are like, oh, by the time you're 30,
you can't dance. I'm like, dude, I'm almost 40 and I'm still grumping every weekend.
I'm dancing with J-Rock. He's like
42 or 44? Yeah. And he just had his first kid.
Like, man, there's plenty of time left on this stuff. Yeah. Yes, think about something else. Like, yes, have a backup plan. Never like forego the option for a plan B. But like, I think that just people don't think about it because the majority of our demographic, I think, is very young.
Early 20s.
Yeah, it's early 20s.
When you start getting into the like actual dance scene, you're early 20s, you're, you know, or like you're even teenagers. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, some of these parents with kids, they got their kids on tour with Mariah Carey, you know? Yeah. And they got to go. I could imagine having my child be a famous dancer and having to go on tour with them. Like Keita's mom, for instance. Like now I'm in that position to where that could possibly be a thing. And I'm like, whoa. Like my son's been like, hey, can you take me to Knucklehead Zoo practice? I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm like, let's get it. That's like, sick. If you want to dance, any dance, let's go. Yes. Like I'm down. And he has rhythm. He'll got maybe a little 2 left feet, but he got something.
Gotta get there.
I didn't have rhythm, I was there too, so I know. But hey, man. Thank you. Bro. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being open to have it. And I'm grateful for you, man. Like, this has been good.
Dude, thank you very much, bro. It was a joy and blessing to be here. I enjoyed the hell out of our conversation. Thank you for calling me an OG. I feel like I didn't get to actually say thank you for that, man. That really does mean a lot coming from you. Yeah. And I'm freaking glad we did this, man. Definitely. And I'm happy to see this like wonderful space that you're creating and like how you're continuing to further on, bro. You're still an inspiration to us all, so I appreciate you,
Definitely, man. Hey, this is episode 17, Hive Hustle Podcast. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, Follow him, Highbridge Crew, all of their stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.
Much love.
Resonate with greatness, celebrate creatives. Ain't no blanket statements, elevate then claim it. So amazed I'm making a way for those in need. Mold the lane, showing change in the growing me.